So we're about to start some sand casting as part of our inclusions class at Corning this January 2016. And we have some wood forms here that we're using as our positives. And so we're going to make an impression with this into a sandbox of damp sand that's using bentonite as a binder. This is actually just straight silica, but sometimes we often use olivine in our own processes. So we kind of level it off, and then we're going to just hammer this in to the box. It's good. All right, so we'll make sure that's level. Perfect. And then we're going to start to build a wall around the mold, and that's going to act as the shell. It's a little bit of a tight fit. It's sometimes nice to have a little more room to work with, but it's also good to be economic with the sand, especially in a classroom situation where you're trying to maximize the materials and the time.
Good.
Okay. Do you want to test out and see how the figure's doing?
Yeah. So I'm going to take a peek in here. These are some figures that we're going to sculpt later today. I'm going to sculpt that figure of a woman. It's actually based on a figure that I drew from a photograph from the sandwich factory. What was it called? The sandwich glass factory in Boston, and it's one of the earliest photographs of women who work in glass. And so I was kind of inspired by these images of these women. So I sculpted one of them, and I'm gonna sculpt her sister later this week and cast her as well.
You got a picture of the sister?
Yeah, there's two sisters. Yeah.
I'm gonna need another scoop of sand, just regular sand. If it's all sifted, I'll take the good stuff. But so we're just gonna take just kind of fill that in a little bit, and then I'll worry about this part down here. Sand casting is kind of one of the simplest ways to cast glass. It's very direct. It has a lot of limitations because it's usually just about, an open-faced mold with some added inclusions or added impressions inside that at times. You don't really necessarily do a lot of complexity with it. And so these pieces are pretty squared off, pretty simplistic forms, geometric forms that she uses in her work. This class is really based and mainly revolves around Stephanie's process that she's been doing for over 15 years now, where she makes a figure initially out of glass, usually done offhand, sculpted, and then cools it down, and then we paint it or color it with glass frit and powders, and then it's heated up again and then dropped in between pores of glass. The person that really made this, a common practice is Bertil Vallien, who's certainly the father of this process, by bringing it over to this country, teaching workshops at Pilchuck, where I was a TA with him. All those things kind of led to a general expansion of the knowledge base of sandcasting. But sandcasting, even in the late 70s, was common in a lot of academic programs as a way to get students accustomed to pouring glass for sculptural elements and other uses within a program. So now we're pulling out the wood mold, and this is when you don't want to drink a lot of coffee or be nervous, because you have to have a fairly steady hand, and you say a little prayer every time you pull it out of the sand. Ooh. The Popelka twist.
Nice. You want to
So we're just going to make just a few fixes on the mold. Any loose sand around the form will potentially get blown around. So we're just going to carefully come in here and do a little fix on it. You can also come in with the shop vac and just carefully pull out any, what we call little avalanches of sand that might come in here. All right, so now we're going to do the graphite. You're going to put that in the bottom.
Yeah.
You want to tap it a little bit. The thing about graphite, it does bind a little bit.
Oh, okay, so this thing is
It seems to be
jammed
working
up a
well.
little
You're
bit?
doing okay, but you want to be even with it and not to overdo it in any one place.
Okay.
We normally don't use graphite powder as a release. Can you wait just a second? We're going to put a little spray on the sides real quick.
all right. Yeah, normally we have a different process, so this has been kind of an adventure to use the graphite while we're here.
We use acetylene as a release, and it's a pretty nasty thing to have in your studio and in a communal situation to have a lot of black soot. And so using this is a lot safer. And this is just graphite powder that's been suspended in a little water. And then we add a carbon element, which is usually, some people have used Caro syrup. Molasses is quite common. And so there's an element of molasses in here, which can add to some nice fragrance to the process.
It's pretty. Should I put some more on the bottom?
Yeah,
With
you
this
will
graphite,
eventually. Let me
yeah.
finish this real quick. You're getting your
Because I want it
close
to be
there.
pretty dry when I put my
All
powders
right.
in.
So we have a class of about 9 students. This is the midpoint of the class, and this is mainly our big casting day when we try to get as much of the student work encased, invested in the sand castings as possible. We have a series of wood molds that the students have made to be used for the impressions. Do you guys want to take a quick look at this, just so you can see it as it's progressing here? So everything's pretty simple. This time I just coated the side walls with the graphite spray, and then we're putting the powdered graphite in the back to try to get a really smooth surface on the end.
Seem like it's getting dry.
Yeah, let's just cross our
Okay.
fingers.
So I have created.
Let me just bake this just for a quick second here.
All right.
So going along with the sugar element, we're going to do a little baking here. And that's just to gently cook that moisture that we just sprayed in there. You can get and we probably will get this one with the film rolling, but occasionally you'll get a mystifying bubble event that is when there is uneven moisture in your piece and the moisture needs to escape. And the only place it often can escape is unfortunately through your piece. Luckily, that usually happens only on the first pour. And so we're just baking that carbon a little bit. All right, that's good. Smells pretty good. Hang on a second. It's good.
Okay, so I have these nicely labeled. Would you hand me the scissors?
So we're just doing a little test run here to see how the figures are going to fit. Just gonna
That's a little bigger than the one we're
Is
going
it?
to do. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. The worst thing is to find out at the last minute your figure's a little bit too big for your mold. So I have this ingenious patented technique of putting tape on my stencils so that I can nicely move them around. This is a Bristol paper, so it'll hold all the powder that I'll put in. I have each piece labeled. They're trimmed, so there's a little clearance on each piece so that for 2 reasons. One, that they won't hit each other, and the other reason is so I can get a nice outline around each section. I want to
pretty blue.
be careful not to scrape the edges with this paper, because any little scrape of paper is, 20 minutes cold working, or maybe even more.
Take that.
I'm going to need that here.
Right.
Let's go. So I I like this kind of Sonia Delaunay type of design. She's an artist, and she and her husband were painters in Paris in the 20s, and I like their imagery, and I think it works well. So this is not actually a copy, but it's just sort of inspired by her style. And it's also kind of a feminine lines. And the piece that I'm going to encase is, as I said, it's a sculpture of a woman who worked in the sandwich glass factory back in the 19th century.
Good idea to wear a glove when you do that.
Let's see. Where's blue? Let's see. Actually, a piece of paper. No. Okay, so I always start out with blue, like a cobalt, or this is called dark blue. And so that gives me the nice outline for the back of the piece. And I'll do this again at the end so that I have a nice crisp line. I do waste a lot of color with this process. It's kind of hard to watch if you're cheap like me, and so just be patient. I'm going to use a piece of paper just to dump the sand on. Okay, so I usually start out with the biggest one that has the most cobalt. This is the only time I can actually save this color, because then it'll get all mixed. So I saved the first one. Do you even know that I did that?
No, that's good.
Okay, so this is topaz, and I think I have topaz in another place. Yeah. I'm going to do the... So I lied, I'm doing it twice. So one of my favorite colors is gold topaz, also a very expensive color. Where is it? But it really gives it a nice effect. And it's also kind of it's transparent, so I can mix it with some cherry red if I want, which cherry red is a very sensitive color, but it happens to like topaz, so it's a nice little combination. So I got one sifter for fine frit and one sifter for powders. So I'm just going to kind of put it down so that it shades up to the top. Just a little bit of drawing mixed in, or shading. So then these guys go back in. All right, let's see what this big one is. This one is blue. So some colors that are transparent, I want them to be a little brighter. So what I'll do is I'll put the color down, and then I'll sandwich it, which is kind of nice because it's about the sandwich factory, but anyway, that's just kind of a coincidence. I'll sandwich it with a little white. You can do 610 if you want it a little softer, or you can do 61 if you really want a nice white canvas. So I just put some white in there. So this is going to make this blue really bright, because you know when transparent colors, they don't have white behind them, there's no light to bounce off of it, so they get dark. But this creates the light behind it. So then I go back with the blue. And I am not a person who can multitask, so I am kind of shocked that I'm doing this while talking even, but I like puzzles a lot, and there's something about this that kind of suits my puzzle fascination.
Hi.
All right.
Thanks.
And I was telling some students earlier, I've just discovered that cherry red can be mixed with vermilion, because I accidentally mixed some in my container at home, and I was a little disturbed by it, and then I ended up using it, and it was beautiful. So, happy accident. Yeah, you didn't know that, Jerry. I ended up putting some of the vermilion in the cherry container at home.
Oh,
I got it all out. So
I'm glad you didn't tell me.
Yeah, color is definitely one of our biggest expenses, so we're pretty careful with it. Let's see, I think I have Granny in here twice. Yes. No, I think it's here. So Granny Green is another one of my favorite colors. I like it with dark green, so that it, again, like the cherry and the topaz, it gets kind of mottled that way. The powders tend to be really, really opaque, even if they're transparent colors. When they're powder, they get kind of, and that's not really as beautiful as I always like it, so that's why I tend to model it with some of the darker greens. So I'm gonna okay, so that's the greens. And I actually, this paper is a little flimsy. It's nicer to use even a heavier stock paper, but this will do for today. But when you're doing a big, long pattern, sometimes it's nice to do really strong Bristol. Oops, that guy's already done. Yeah, a little one. Yeah. And did I forget this one, or that one I did first? Okay, thank you. Okay, so this color is new in my vocabulary. It's canary, and you know, it's a little moody color. It's a little ugly, but I seem to kind of just need it. I need a little boost of that kind of acid
Eventually,
yellow.
yeah, this is just a dry
Yeah,
one.
so I've been using it lately, and kind of like it. I haven't really started mixing it with any other color, because I actually make some pears, and they're actually over in the gift store at the museum. And I do have one that's made out of canary, and I just did a little gold ruby on the side for shadow. Completely went brown, and it's beautiful. It looks like a real pear. So I know that's what happens with canary and gold ruby. Pretty much canary and everybody. Okay, so now I'm kind of at the end, and I'm gonna go back, put all the pieces in, go back with my dark blue, and put my nice crisp outlines in there.
If you could help me open that kiln door for a second.
Okay.
So, and I just spilled a little blue in the white. I'm gonna get that out.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
This is just a test to see it, how I grab it. This is just a test to see if everything works well.
All right, so now I just pull these out carefully.
Perfect. Good.
I like my outlines to be somewhat touch and go, you know, kind of like they were hand drawn.
Preheat these.
Sort of
I
feels
should
like a
have done that with
lithograph in
cold
some way,
tool.
which I don't know how that's possible, but it does. So, yeah, it looks like a painting. Well, I think that's why I don't really dig back into the back of my molds, because I'm essentially a painter. So I'm kind of used to working on a flat surface, getting a 3D look. Okay, so I'm going to put these away. These are nasty. This whole cart can go away. All right, I'm going to be ready for the pickup pretty soon.
So a quick way to preheat, you just grab it, and that'll preheat your tool nicely. Just saying that, you know, we're going to use this as a grabbing tool. It's pretty handy. You never want to grab any glass out of a kiln with a cold tool. Sometimes people rig up things that have fiber tape or fiber rope wrapped around. That's kind of like just tongs that you'd use for a salad, and that works pretty well. You get really long ones. But we just use hot glass, and so you just take a little hot glass out of the furnace if you can, rather than using a torch, and just squeeze that out, and that'll preheat this enough that it's definitely warm.
Are you going to pick her up on a pastorale?
Yeah, we're all set to go.
Okay, all right.
So I would like to roll this over close for a second so we can lay her from the kiln right onto the hot plate, and then I'll pick it up. Once I pick her up and go to the glory hole, you're going to roll this back a bit to this spot.
Okay.
Okay?
So where do you want this right now?
We're going to roll it over there for a second.
Right.
Watch your figure.
I try to eat right.
That's good right there. So just grab it right like this. Good. All right.
So do you need somebody to get the kiln doors for you?
Yeah, Alan is going to get the doors for me when I come over.
Okay. Do you have 2 tweezers?
I have, yes. I'm going to use these big tongs. Could you hold that for me for a second? And I love these. Is there any more of these for just a second? These are magnificent.
Too bad Christmas just happened.
Yeah, well, we can get some more of these thick Kevlars. So this has to be preheated as well. You want to make sure you don't put your work on a cold pastorale or plate. We use metal a lot in our studio. Most people are switching over to a ceramic type shelf that's used often. Last week, I think David DePatchen was here, and he uses a ceramic shelf that's really good for pickups. It's holds the heat better. We're kind of stuck on metal right now. We're going to use that today. It's a little bit more controlled for what we're doing. All right, thanks. So we're going to preheat it just by giving it a flash in the glory hole there, just to give it a little bit of heat.
Did he explain? So now what we're doing
These
is
wheels
we're
are
just
so smooth. I'm
firing
not used
on
to
the
that.
enamel
That's
of
good. You
the
can open that
figure
one?
that we've already made.
Thanks.
So the paint is in there. The piece has been brought up to about 9-10, and now we're going to put her onto the pastorale, put her into the glory hole, fire the paint on.
Just put this here for a second. All right, so I need someone to get the kiln door. It doesn't hurt to have a major glove on one hand so that if you start to lose the piece, you have a way to grab it. All right, is this hot?
No.
Yeah, I flashed it. You got to be careful not to scratch the paint.
It's fairly strong, but yeah.
You don't have a long time to work here. It's cracking.
It's cracking?
Yeah, we're just going to give it a good flash. It didn't fall apart yet.
Do you want the marver moved closer now?
Yes, roll it back to where it was before. Do you want to explain why we're firing it?
I did.
So that kiln is a little on the cold side.
I think I'm all
It
right.
shouldn't crack this
It
dramatically.
back where it was.
And normally we pick up our
Yeah,
kiln a
that's
little bit. There's a few little cracks in it,
Might
but
be a
those are
little
going to be
too close.
mended. That's good. You can come out. So to heat it evenly, we use a fork that's open on one end so that we can just switch it around real quick. You want to find a tweezer to make sure that, and you can kind of see how it's got a glaze in the lower part. That tells you that the paint is fired. Now you can kind of get away with some colors where you don't have to do this firing, but we kind of do it either way.
Blacks and whites are a little bit more lenient as far as firing it, but reds and yellows, they like to be fired.
So if the piece is compromised with cracks, you can sometimes, it will be refused in the casting very often. You don't necessarily want to get it so hot at this point that it sticks to the plate.
I do a lot of tile work, so
Oh yeah.
things a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so are you ready to put her back in the kiln?
That's up to you.
Yeah, I think it looks good. I'm worried about this bubbling a little bit, but I think it'll be fine.
So we're going to pour from this way down.
Right.
All right, she looks good.
Okay.
I don't need to move the table right now.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to put her back in the kiln.
A little risky. All right. So he's back into a 900 degree oven. Might have been slightly on the cold side. And so ideally when you're picking up your pieces, if you can pop your kiln up to 1,000 for a moment, that assures that you have a little more time to work with it before you get it back in the heat.
I'm going to take all this
You want
stuff
your glove
away.
back?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I
Have a
can't
place
really
for
use
that?
these for what I'm doing now. We should have done this on a lower table. It's okay. We could lower it now a little bit. Why don't we do that real quick?
Are you sure?
Yeah, just a
Alright.
little bit. So we're gonna just take this out of here for a second.
Thank you.
It's easier for me to pour. And we got the time, so let's do this real quick. Sorry.
Are
Oops.
they all?
That's wrong way. That's as low as it goes, maybe. Yeah, I think so. I should have known that. That's fine. All right. These are the kind of tools when you come to an amazing place like the Corning School that you wish you could take back to Wisconsin with you. But a table that goes up and down is quite a luxury. Looks good. So we're just going to pour in the middle and then move it around a little bit. We're going to use a medium large ladle.
Yeah. Do we have the right label?
Yeah. All right. This is usually the part where you turn all the lights off. You start chanting. All right. All right, great. Just gonna do one quick thing here.
Oh, you're going to raise the temperature a little
Just
bit?
a hair. All right, we're all set. Okay.
So, do you want to rake first?
Yep.
Okay. Just reminding you.
This is actually not the ladle I'm going to use.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Where's that red towel?
Right here.
I could use that.
Yeah, that's good. No, that was really bad.
Could just hold that for a second. With sand casting, if you're trying to avoid some sort of accidental bubbles, a lot of times bubbles will accumulate in the surface after a long day of casting. So this is just to push those bubbles away. It's good. I will trade with you, sir. Excellent. No bubbles, no bubbles.
No bubbles.
All right.
Good noise.
My favorite. It's the sound of the metal, cold metal reacting to the glass. We call it the cry of the furnace. Sorry, my fault.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Now you can kind of pour it all at once, but sometimes if you're in a different studio, you want to take it gradually so that the sand has a little chance to gas. Stephanie's making sure that the glass doesn't dump off the
ladle.
ladle. Wait, no, good. We can recycle all this glass that we don't use in the actual mold, which is important to us. So it's nice to get the inclusion in quickly. It gives you more opportunity to move the piece around. Just for a second.
Yep.
You got enough gloves?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Tool. Hang on. Remember to preheat that tool. All right.
You want to back up?
Yeah, I need a backup. Just in case. All right. Thank you. Yes. Centered?
Yep. have a little time to move her around. You can see like some of the paint cracked up a little
Nice.
tiny bit, so that'll be clear coming through, which I kind of like because it looks like one of those old wooden things on the
Just starting to
ships.
get the hang of this
But
thing.
you can
Thank you.
avoid that if you color your blank. So if you want to use the soft white, that's why we did that with your piece and polar bear and other pieces.
Bottom to the top, you're going to get the bubble at the head.
Yeah, let's do the top to the bottom.
Top to the bottom.
Yeah,
Okay, can we roll this just a bit this
yeah, whatever
way?
you want.
We're actually going to do a 180 here if we can. Can this be undone? Let's just kind of just go like this. Just careful. Remember what I said about not moving your mold in process. All right, that's good. It really, the orientation of the way you pour makes a huge difference. And so if I'm trying to pour head to the bottom of the dress there, and that will allow for a certain amount of clarity as far as the figure goes, hopefully.
So now we pray for no paint bubbles.
You got your torch set up?
Yep. I'm gonna switch to that color glove.
All right, here we go. Yeah, it should be used, totally sampled. Well, that's okay. That's what happens.
That's what happens.
So I'm trying in the beginning to gently let the glass flow over the figure in a controlled way. Got a little bubble in there. Very hot ladle.
You all right?
Yeah. You know I'd burn for you.
I bet people say that around here every day. All right, I think we're good.
Not quite top though. Ready?
Yep.
Better to slightly be under than over.
I think I need a bottle. All right. This is not on.
Ruche?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wish I
So you
would've-
might want to torch around this side so you can get a better angle. So why don't you hand this to me?
Oh, wait, I got it.
Come around. Okay.
Could you move the stand over here?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
I think Ruche is our new paradise.
What's that? A new paradise there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to pop that.
Little head bubble.
Yeah, there's a head bubble, there's an armpit bubble. So sometimes the bubbles look like they're not gonna do anything, and then all of a sudden they get on a rampage and start moving. So you kind of have to keep an eye on them. Pretty good. I'm not gonna zero in on any of these bubbles. I could pop these two, but they're kind of close to the sand. So
What about that one right there?
yeah, there's two there. There's one closer to the surface. Oh, where'd Jeremy go? You want to take a look at this and give me your opinion on the bubbles? They don't seem to be moving much, so I'm not gonna.
We could turn it up or just let it go. I think it looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good too.
I mean, you'd really have to fire it up hot to pop that.
Yeah, and I want.
What you could do, this one has to be torched longer because we don't have a box to put it away
Right,
in.
right. So that air that is trapped in there is next to the cold inclusion. So that's why those bubbles are not really moving. They seem to be in a kind of a logical place that doesn't really bother me as far as the narrative of this piece. You know, sometimes if you have a bubble coming right off somebody's mouth, or you know, or they're
Across their neck.
behind. Yeah. So you don't want that, but there's deal breaker bubbles, and then there's totally passable bubbles.
There's just a little bit of a wrinkle right there. If you want to, it's right here. That looks good. All right.
That's from a cutoff is right there.
Why don't you let it sit for a second, then we'll torch it one more time. I'd like to be able to vent it a little bit.
All right.
All right.
Is this pine oil?
Yeah, straight pine oil.
Somebody had pine oil in one of these cups. I think it was
Oh,
Sally, didn't it?
wow. So at this point, very often, a piece this size or bigger, normally we would have a metal box for it, and you just put the whole box into the kiln. And that eliminates the potential for a mold failure. With sand cast sand, this type of sand, it's not a bonded sand, a bound sand. And so it does have a bit of a life of its own sometimes. If you do a good job with the mixing, the sand shell is going to hold pretty well. Once you get pretty bigger than this, though, the mass of the glass, you have to put it away soon enough so that it doesn't crack, and thus the piece, the shell, can be a little bit fragile with the molten glass. And so we have to vent it a little bit to allow some of the steam out from the sand. This does get a little hot, nice to wear a glove. And that will help to set up the shell. This allows the moisture to get out next to the piece. I'm okay.
You want a glove?
No thanks.
Trying to pick up a glove.
Sure. They got gloves here.
Yeah, we might as
Fancy.
well use them.
Very fancy. All right. You're not really trying to pull away or make the shell. You're just trying to allow some of that moisture out.
I don't know if I mentioned, I probably did, but I'll mention it again. These are Rouchet paints that I use mixed with pine oil.
Which are out of New Jersey? Is that
Colorado, I think.
Okay. It's on the internet. Pretty common.
Yeah, Reusche, Rouchet. I think I spelled it right, hopefully. But this, I'm not used to using them. I usually use Paradise paint. So this has been an experiment.
David Hopper.
Yeah, Paradise paint is invented, or not invented, but produced by David Hopper out of Chico, or Paradise, California, near Chico. And he stopped making it probably about, I'm just guessing 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
Don't bother him.
Yeah, he's not interested in making them. And then there was a huge fire in
Paradise.
In that area, and he lost the rest of his collection. I had a feeling he was going to quit though, and I pre-ordered a whole bunch. I don't know how I had that. I was nervous about it, so I got a bunch. So I do have quite a stash, but.
Do you want to torch it again?
I'm going to switch to Rouchet now.
Torch a little bit.
Yeah.
His paint came already in a medium, so it came wet in a little jar.
Nice.
This you have to mix yourself figure out your medium. There's going to be a really loud crashing sound, so just so you know.
Right.
It's like a flower on her hat.
Yeah.
So we go for it?
Yeah. There is a piece over in the gift shop that is made in the same mold. It has a bird in it, and that was not in a steel box. So if you're interested in seeing what this looks like,
The form,
you can take a look at that one over there. It's right in the entrance as you come in.
All right. Still a little bit hot.
The thing for me when I do these figures of women is it's all about their posture. It's all about how they're holding their body, what their garments are made of. If they're, I paint it differently if I think it's a knit or if I think it's a cotton, a woven, and the material culture around them, how their hair is, how their collar is. All of that stuff I think really kind of tells the story about who this person is.
Oops, we blew out.
Got it?
Got it. Is the torch over there? It's a little easier. I turned it off.
Oh, you turned it off, okay. That's a little high.
It's natural gas, so it's a little less of an issue, but I'm okay. Popcorn. Torch definitely could use a little bit of a cleaning.
What?
You need to clean the torch a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. I think it's pretty good to put away.
All right. You're the boss. It makes me a little nervous because when it's that orange, we're trying to get success.
Well, you want to wait?
Just for the sake of using the sand, we kind of used a small box, and that can be handy for being economic with the sand, but not also always the easiest for digging it out. So I'm kind of feeling it as I'm slowly scraping away the damp sand. I'm starting to feel the hard sand that is the, I'm going to pass on that.
Right.
I'm just going to shove it out a little bit there and put it this way. That should be fairly set up because it's so close. Just going to take a little knife there. So now we're really releasing the moisture that's in the sand that holds the sand together. The bentonite that's embedded in the sand has been fired around the shell, around the glass. Just going to move it out just a little bit. Okay.
What gloves are you going to wear to dig it out?
I'm just going to grab it out with the big gloves. I'm just going to have somebody's going to just lift it up.
I mean, pizza peel.
Pizza peel's good. These pieces at this thickness, ideally you cool it down over maybe 3 days. That's being a little excessive, but sometimes it's worth the superstition or the overcooking. Yeah, just hang on a second. Let me get my gloves on. Okay, we have one. Thank you.
I have to say I'm really happy with this Boucher paint.
Right. I have a very large head. Corey did this yesterday, so.
It's full of brains.
Swollen, very swollen. All right, let's do this. Go for it, more. Got it, a little more, push forward, up. That's good. This is a little bit awkward. So you want to try to make sure that the bottom is fairly even. You don't want a big clump of sand down there, so I'm gently scraping off the bottom so that it's a little bit even sand down there. I'm going to put it on a wood paddle now. A little uneven there. You want to be careful. You don't want to push too hard. You could still break the shell at this point. Okay. That's all right. Got it. So you can see how the shell is, you can just leave that closed for a second. Okay, open it up. Okay. Oh, good. Okay.
Yay! Woo! Thank you.
All right.
Nice job. Nice job. Okay, so now
the real work commences, where we're going to start doing the student pieces today. Like I said earlier, we have 9 students, And so we have a minimum of that many castings to do, probably twice as much, ideally.
So maybe if maybe we want to fire all the objects right now because we're not really set up for a box yet.
Yeah, we could probably do one quick piece. Who wants to go first with a piece? It doesn't have to be your best piece. But
well, we have the list that we made.
Right.
So.
But it'd be nice to do one more casting of a student piece all the way through.
Okay.
So we have only about 15 minutes.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
Anybody want to try one of their droplets, or do you want to try one of your rings? Is that all right? Yeah. Do you only have one sandblasted ring in there?
Well,
one from the backup kiln?
Yeah. The other ones are black in the front.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, like they're on the outside of black.
Would you rather risk that one first? I mean, this is going to work. I'm just saying, is there anyone that the first one's kind of a test, right, with the clear? Let's just do that one. Okay. Do you have your form that you're going to use for it?
Yep.
All right.
All right. So let's get everything out of the way.
Yeah, if you can. What we do is we'll set up a shelf and kind of hold the sand back with more bricks. And then you pull those out, and then you just go right under it, especially for this thing.
Yeah, that's why I was like, it kind of like fills it.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
looks
there's
good,
no room
but
around it.
all right.
Okay.
Whose box is this?
That was.
Is that
was our
mine?
test.
That's for the test.
Okay, so we'll just put some sand on top of this for.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oops. Trying to get everything out of your way so it's level.
I can go right in the box there.
All right.
Could you hand me one of those shovels? Perfect, thanks. All right, part 2. So we're going to fill this up. This sand is, like I said, a fine mesh silica that has about 8% bentonite, give or take. And then we did we measure about a gallon of water, gallon and a half? Was that?
Yeah, it's about a gallon.
About a gallon of water to 100 pounds of sand. It's nice to top it off. And then it's sifted through a medium fine sifter twice. And that assures an equal dispersion. The bentonite has to be really mixed in evenly. And so you need to mix it up dry first, and then you start adding your water gradually. Adding, like Chelsea was saying, about a gallon of water. Really depends upon the atmosphere. We're in the middle of winter, so things dry out a little bit faster now.
Oh, does that fit in that box?
Oh, that'll fit. That's perfectly
Like
fine.
this?
Yeah. So that's just gonna have one little ring in it?
Well, it's got three different like cut rings basically.
Oh, okay.
Are you high yet?
Right.
I think that looks perfect. I think it's fine. Yeah. Very
Right.
nice.
So those 3. I
Yeah.
think that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're up for it.
Yeah. Okay. So
Great,
I would
let's
just
do it.
take some other color and dab
The
it on
kiln's
there
up a
right
little
now.
higher
I
now,
wouldn't wait
so
for that
those
to dry.
should
I
work
would
really
put it on
well.
wet.
They don't need
But
to be
you
fired.
Just, you get once,
which is
otherwise
great.
it smudges.
All right.
So there are enough pallets in the other room that, and I know some are Rouchet, some are, you use Rouchet, right?
Right.
And what did you use, Rouchet? Okay.
Could you reintroduce yourself
Okay.
real quick? Full
Okay.
name and location?
Yeah, it'll be cool to see because if everybody remembers if they use Rouchet or Sunshine, here we can really see.
Great.
Yeah, that'll be good.
That kind of thing, but
You guys all used Sunshine, right?
Thanks. Great.
Did you
Thank
use
you.
the Sunshine? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll get you your hammers and stuff.
Oh yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, that's right. You're mostly
A little bit. You know
pure
what?
Color.
Hang on a second. That's we're going the full depth, right? So this is,
maybe like
you can do it's still, I kind of shouldn't have given you so much sand. It's good to kind of excavate a little bit your form.
right.
Because you'd never get it pushed down enough. It would stick out so much that it would be really difficult in that small box to work. A little bit, yeah. Here you go. I got a scoop for you. I'll get a scoop. This is
Sand is so precious.
got another scoop there.
It's not expensive, but it's just hard to get.
That's great.
And then hard to treat.
I believe Corey's going to cold work or polish some of the
Yeah,
sand
to get it
surface
ready
off of this
and,
form, ideally. And so the sand casting is simply a structure to make his piece, but he doesn't plan on necessarily having any rough surfaces. So the end result will be polishing off the ends there. All right. Try that.
That's another thing. Everybody kind of think about what size box you're going to need for when you do your piece. 'Cause,
Yeah, I'm getting all the tools here.
I think so. I think most of them fit in that. Yeah.
You can hammer it down a little bit, maybe, just a little tapping. I know if you might be running the
Right.
cracks,
We're
but
going to just do
try to give it good.
one per
You're going to
box.
definitely have to hit it
Yeah.
down pretty far. If you say
Right,
had a
especially
very
if you have to fill
level
it. Well,
layer of
at home,
sand that you
sometimes we'll
started
slide
at,
bricks in there
then you
just
wouldn't
to
end up with those
fill the
pockets. But
space so
because
don't
we
have to
weren't
put the
thorough
sand
with
in there.
that,
Yeah.
chances are if you didn't hammer it, you're going to have some major gaps, and the sand's going to be especially rough. All right,
We
that
didn't
seems
use
pretty
bricks
good.
from our
Let's see what this
building.
looks like.
Sometimes we use
Maybe a little bit
soft
on that
brick.
side,
Just if
a little bit more over here.
use a soft brick if it's going to be in a steel box and we're going to have to
Good.
lift it into the kiln.
Let's go and brush
'Cause the
this
glass piece
away.
is already over 40 pounds, and so we don't
Eh,
want to
just a
add
little bit
bricks
on
to
this
that.
side.
And the steel box is heavy, so
Good. All right. Good. Well, I saw that last look. Good, that's fine. You're within the range.
No, we.
So you just
we
want
had
to
an
pack it up,
assistant
yeah,
for
pack it
about
pretty
9
tightly.
years,
I
and
kind of
he
like
was-
sandwich it,
he
try to
built
get an
his
inch
own
and a half or
VW
so of
van
sand around it.
from scratch. So
Minimum, we got
he
plenty
built
more sand to add to this.
Everything that you can imagine for us.
Should we start mixing
Yeah,
some
yeah.
more sand then?
But he would over.
What do you
I hope
think?
he's not
We
watching
have
this.
2
He was
bags. It'd be
wonderful.
nice to do another 100 pounds. We can transfer this to a
But he
holding
did
tank.
over-engineer some stuff.
Yeah, so I'll do
but
that,
he
help
did
you do
weld
that
a lot
real
of our
quick.
boxes. There are a lot of local craftspeople in town that we trade with. So we've traded for metal, we trade for welding, we trade for woodworking. So
We'll get some more plastic, but let's
well, I
just
kinda
put it in
did
a
talk
box for
about
now.
it, and I want to make sure it works. You know? Oh, to show?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's using the ruche.
You could do that.
And
Yeah, if
then
you're going to use it anyway,
for
might as well.
anybody
Yeah,
who
don't worry about using
used the
fresh sand. Just
Sunshine,
use it
I
all.
recommend you use the
We're going to mix
Ruche
up another 200 pounds
today
minimum. So
and try it and see how it
those
works.
of you that get in on
I
the
was
sand
really
making
pleased
will get
with
rewarded
this.
in one way or the other.
A lot of
make
times
sure
when I
this
use
is,
Paradise, the skin tones will bubble.
If
and
not
I'll
in
get
this
these,
life,
like,
in the
bubble-
next.
And it's really frustrating.
Sorry?
So I was pretty
Got
thrilled
it.
about
Hang
that.
on.
No, I use just Paradise. But, oh, here, yes. So, but I may switch to just Ruche now. And I can probably mix up a batch, you know. Well, I usually do paint a whole bunch of things at once and then I don't paint again for like 2 weeks. We brought some rubber stamps. You can use. I don't, because I don't like to use any like clip art or any artwork that's already made. But yeah, you can totally do that. Pressing it in.
Hang on a second. All right, that looks good. Did you do some really hard pushes in there?
You can make your own.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst idea.
Yeah. Oh, we do that. Yeah.
And let's just double check the level.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I saw a little drifting there when you were doing it, so let's give it a few more taps.
Right.
I don't think the floor is shifting. A little harder.
Right.
That's good. All right.
Very cool.
And then this one, once again. Other way, other side, there you go. You can do it right in the middle there is probably best, sorry.
That'd be cool.
One more. I was kind of surprised
Yeah.
that it did shift because you seemed like you were pretty stable. Just a
Right.
baby tap over here.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Like
That's
a bangle
good.
or like a, yeah.
Kind of
cock
overkill,
cap,
but
that's cool.
you want a fairly square form. That's what
Right.
you're going to want to do. So
Right.
just kind of like that, if you can kind of bring it in,
Okay.
just
Kind
to
of
kind of,
bottom up.
yeah, just kind of like to use your mold as a
Sure.
perch.
Yeah.
I'm going to wash my finger here. Just a second. I'll be right there.
even though you guys already saw this once, did you get more out of the process seeing it the second time after you've painted the, yeah.
That looks good.
Another thing, I don't know in my slideshow if you saw that there was
I don't
one
want to
piece I did
interrupt
that had,
Matthew's class right now.
Shards,
to
Marini
get some more,
shards.
but
Jeremy had
this
lost
is
a
a-
Marini piece, and so
this
I
fits.
flipped up the shards, and then
There's
can
other
put those
shelves in
in
the
background
back,
and just
but you can kind of go a
toast
little
them
bit like
and
that,
fuse right over it. If you have blown glass.
and at least do this much of it.
Well, the thing I'm concerned about is
That probably will work. Yeah, that'll probably work fine. We'll just take this out before we pour, or get a lower one. But that would be a huge bounce back when we torched it. So this has to somehow be out of the equation by the time. But that's a good start.
Yeah, the reds and stuff later.
no crack into the Marini, if you got them in the background.
Yeah, sometimes
So
they
this
do
just
break up or
shows
crack.
some
I
of the
torch 'em a little bit,
preparation
I preheat 'em,
of
and
some of the
so
student
it has
projects.
to be
We made
a
some
collage
blanks
kind of situation where
offhand
if
over
they
the
do
course
break,
of a
you're
couple
not,
days.
dedicated.
And
So it
right
gets
now
to
we're
look like a
just
mosaic.
painting them with some of those enamels that Stephanie mentioned earlier. And so she's doing some detail work on a pastry, a glass pastry piece that she's doing. People do some maquettes, they do
powders?
some
You
drawings
have those
first,
here
and then we
today,
kind of
or?
take them to another place to do the
Sure about,
painting,
they have to be pretty thin
and then
though.
finally do
Yeah.
some of the castings. These are a series of tests that were just done to test out some
That's
different
probably
types
too
of
thick.
paint.
Yeah,
You know, it's
it
kind
has
of
to be
a
pretty thin
changing
blown
environment
glass, 'cause
on almost a
otherwise
yearly
it's too
basis in
cold.
terms of what some of the products are
you could
available.
preheat 'em.
With that said, a lot of that stuff
Preheat 'em
is
on
done
the
by the
casserole.
individual artist, and some of those things that are figured out within the darkness of an artist studio.
All right, go look.
Forms that we're using, the students are making some different forms.
Well,
This
we're-
is a staircase that was made with laminated plywood that's going to be pushed into the sand. Really nice having wood for sand casting, gives you a lot of options. Found objects are also good.
These are some tests that I had done prior to the class. This is the ruche. This is the sunshine.
That's okay. I mean, it's
So
good to get it.
because I'm
yeah,
used to always using the Paradise, I
Oh,
decided
okay.
to just to check
Sorry.
out these other
that's good.
paints, and I'm actually very pleased with
Right.
them. This is also stipple glass, I think it's
I
called.
think you're
or
good.
Stip
I think we can
glass
pull it
that
out
was
now.
sent to me from another artist, and this is Paradise, since we did paint cast here.
All right. You kind of just you move back
She's
a little
gonna do
bit,
a
just
polar
to
bear a
rock
little
it
later, so you
just
can
a
see
little
we
bit,
drew out the polar bear.
and we'll see.
and
We may
then we
hopefully have
sculpted it.
success on this one.
Show 'em the polar bear.
And just tell me how you're feeling.
And, she's making
All
a
right.
piece
And you want to go
that's
kind of straight up,
relating to
just
the
gently.
polar bear's
Sometimes
disappearing.
you know,
And
you end up,
we're
you
making
know,
this
just keep going. Don't,
transparent, barely there.
so you're tipping it
polar
a
bear.
little bit towards yourself, and so you want to go straight.
And then we've
straight
made a
up
bunch
as
of roundels
possible.
for people to paint little
Good job.
cameos
Stop.
or little
Come back
faces,
down for a
little
second.
portraits. Hopefully,
Yeah, so you did start to break your
later
mold a little
today
bit. You're
for
coming out at a
casting
little bit of an
tomorrow.
angle, and it is
Okay.
hard.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, if you don't have undercuts, which are possible, that's where the issue can rise. Yeah. You can kind of gently push that down.
This off?
Yeah, we might have a slight bevel to this jigsaw
See a
here.
little.
Hope you don't mind if I jump in here, but it's hard for me. This definitely needs a little more sanding. Yeah, so you can kind of see that roughness there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of where the hammer, the real hard
He's
hammering
cold
comes
working
in.
the whole back anyhow, so
Is that true?
That is true.
Yeah, so we can just go with this,
Yeah.
if that's okay with you.
Yeah, it is.
so you don't even need the carbon.
So what caused that? Hammering?
Not enough pressure, not enough. Yeah, you got to get a little bit more rambunctious with the hammering.
Okay, yeah.
Theoretically, this one we could rehammer, but there's a risk of some bubbles in that.
Right.
But you're not going to put your pieces in anyway, so if you want to try it again, we could do it real quick.
What do you mean?
Just go back in with it and push it in one more time.
Won't
But,
you'll get air pockets in all those.
most
yes.
likely, not
Yeah.
but I think we could go with this, and you
I'd say go with it.
take it down.
and,
It's not it's not going to increase your grinding exponentially in any way.
Right.
All right.
You're worried about the corners at all? How that
No, that's going to hold together fine. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and do you want it coated just in case, or should we
Yeah,
just?
let's coat it. Yeah.
All right. So we'll do the spray first. You want to try the spray here? Let me get it started. Sorry. We should probably lower this setup so you guys don't have to reach up so high.
And then after the spray, here's the carbon powder. I don't know if you want to use this.
You can really forcefully pack this, right?
Yes, but you don't want to double pack
You don't want to double
because you don't want to trap air. Yeah.
taking the thing out, free
Right, right. Because you can see, you'll just push air right into there.
Right.
Every
Just
time
get
we,
it one shot worth
yeah,
of you.
yeah. But you can really pound it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. And
All
pound it a
right,
lot.
it takes a little bit of a push, but just try to go straight down in it with that. Got to pull hard. There you go. Nice. Graphite and molasses. Yeah, let me see that just for a second. I think if we tip it too much, it's probably not filling the thing. Yeah.
You can do a practice on this if you want.
The nozzle's getting
Yeah.
You want to just use the powder?
Yeah, why don't you start with the powder and then we'll be fine with that.
Want to rinse off that nozzle?
Yeah. We're just about done for the day. For the workshop there. I'm not sure if it's the, looks like it is the nozzle, yeah.
It's a nice shaped mold.
I will correct it.
Will you have it? Will you have it stand on its side or lay? On,
Kind of both.
kind of both.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's right. You can pull.
Edge or, how much do I need on there?
I think a little more.
Let's go ahead and do this real quick. I have this fixed. Well, just want to say what a great opportunity this is to work here this week, and want to thank.
They don't really look
Corning.
very nice. They, you know what I mean? They just kind of look
And
like this.
they're
and
generous.
They don't really do anything.
Welcome
I think if-
here for this week, and I want to
but
thank our
think if you
students
cut
for
'em
being
into-
such great
If you clipped them
students.
into little round,
All right,
like little
that looks good.
circles, they might be a little more interesting. So if you clip, okay.
Little graphite, yeah.
clip
Go
them really
ahead.
fine and then put them in there in circles, they'd be nice. But
I also have some windows.
All right. Have you done much ladling?
I have not. Only, I mean, back in college, yeah. So it's been a while.
Maybe you should orchestrate the placement.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll just do that.
yeah, those are too
Yeah.
thick.
Maybe do the next
We
one.
could preheat
All right,
them on the pastorale.
let's go for it.
We might
that-
be able to preheat these on the
This is
pastorale.
good for
They're
now.
borderline.
For the,
So let's see
Yeah,
let's see what
and
Jeremy
Stephanie can get the
thinks,
door.
but, yeah.
make sure you have a glove on.
All right, I'm going to help them.
We're gonna pour real quick if you want to. Yeah, get the door.
Yep, whatever. One of them does have holes in their fingers, so careful.
So we're gonna be picking up these 3 pieces here for Corey, and you should try really quick to pick one of those up so you know what you're in for with a tweezer. No, I try the regular tweezers.
Okay.
Go ahead and squeeze that just to heat it up a little bit. Just squeeze the, yep, there, you know it. You know the drill. That's plenty. Got it? All right. I take that from you. And I just want you to see if you can pick up the elements cleanly. I'm gonna kind of spot you, but just see if you can move them around a little bit. See what it feels like. I can put my hand underneath it.
I'll probably do that once I pick them up.
Right.
Another,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Sound
Okay.
good?
I'll feel comfortable with that.
And we'll go top to bottom.
Okay.
You could
All
also
right.
have a paddle under your hand too.
And how deep did you want to go on this?
Let's do about 2.5 inches or 3 inches.
So we're thinking about there.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. All right. I'm going to go with the big ladle then.
And do you want to shear, or do you want me to shear?
I will share.
You'll shear. Okay, the shears are there.
This is what you use.
I used both of them. I gave those to him. Those are stronger, so I gave those to
Hold
him.
this for a second.
God, there's all this footage of me with no glasses.
A little bit louder now. A little bit softer now. Hey.
Nice.
This has got the best sound in the
Ever.
glass world.
World history.
Open.
It's as open as it goes.
Oh.
He's cutting.
Now that would be a finish line ribbon
That's a finish line ribbon.
when you run a marathon and run through
I
a
think
hot
the secret
trail.
of those shears is you got to cut fast
Yeah.
because they get too hot.
Oh, that's sweet. Hopefully if it bubbles, we're okay.
Looks like it's all right.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna get to it. Go ahead and cut it. Yeah, you better grab that. Do you have 2 gloves on then? Yeah. Now those are not really meant to touch a lot of hot glass, so if they do fall on your other hand, you got to be quick. Do you want to start with the middle piece? Would that be easier to adjust? Yeah. All right. Let's try this. You up for this?
Yep.
All right. Take your time. Good. And Stephanie can keep an eye on it to make sure it stays level if you want it that way.
Yeah. So you might want to go get your next piece.
Yeah. Good job. Watch the. Nice.
You can move it around a little bit. You got a little time.
It'd be nice to get the last one in quickly.
Careful
and
not
then,
to, get the next one.
doing a good job of not hitting the sides, as Stephanie was
Yeah.
saying. Watch the elements are off. Good job, man. Perfect.
Nice.
Would be nice if it kind of sank in a little bit. We can still adjust a bit.
You still have
How's
time
your,
to move anything around.
How's your glove?
It's hot.
Yeah. Yeah, just try to watch out for the side of your sand mold there. Yep. Getting close to the sand mold again. Well, Stephanie can shield you a little better.
I could use another
Paddle.
paddle, yeah. Yeah, so maybe you want 2 of those stronger gloves.
Yeah, we're going to have some bubbles forming on the end of those,
Okay.
so that's definitely an issue.
On the ends of them?
In the middle, actually, there's
Around
going
the
to,
middle
because
piece.
it's
Nothing you
sticking
can do
out.
about
Do
it.
you want me
Well-
to push it down?
No, what we're going to try to do is pour in one end. You're trying to keep it. What if it did top off? What would happen to you then, if the piece, if it was topped off? You're looking for a very specific thickness, it seems like.
Yeah, I'm looking to encase those pieces.
Right, but if it did
Okay.
top this mold off, that's not the end of the world.
No.
Yeah, because having that extra room to pour, it's going to help us.
Okay.
Because if I can pour it and let the glass flow without taking the ladle across it,
Okay.
less chance of trapping a lot of air.
So you're talking about this will kind of go over the.
No. You said you wanted to go below the top level.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right.
Yep. Okay.
You got the glass, you might want to flaunt it. All right.
The door doesn't really, oh, it does open a little wider than I thought.
Yeah, you never want to force it, but
No.
sometimes things stick a little bit.
I got it.
All right. Go. Hip.
It gets louder every time. I'm hungry, Seymour.
Usually it gets cooler. Could you
He's
see a
cheering,
quick-
he's cheering.
Sorry, you should have a little shear too.
Yeah, you're so used to me sharing. You keep stopping by me.
Oh, I just want to get the little
Go
trail.
real quick. Yeah.
Nice. So I'm trying to not go past the flow. So if I overlap the flow, that's when you get into those trap bubbles like we had with Stephanie's
The lines.
the throat
Right.
on that last casting. How's that looking?
It's looking good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Hang on, wait till it trails out, now cut it.
Push
Good.
it up.
That's
yeah.
fine.
So, do you want to get a good glove for torching because it gets pretty hot?
We got some bubbles to pop right
Yeah.
there.
Corey, I'm going to let you have this.
There's going to be a big one coming up at the end of
That
that
glove
one.
is not going to keep you very cool.
I got 2 gloves on.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Check out the sandblast. You can totally see it.
Oh yeah.
That's great. So try to stay
You're
right on
right,
it. Just
you're
stay,
right,
kind of
yeah.
go around
Stay-
it a little bit.
Stay right on that bubble.
He's the expert.
And what I do sometimes is I give that one a little break to come up, go over to the next one I want to get.
Can I get that one that's right there or no?
Yeah, I think you should be able to get that. Go in a little deeper. Yeah. And so now go back to the other one. Let it finish it. Yeah, it already popped, so kind of smooth it out.
And you kind of want to work on that big
You know what? I
that
got
big
this.
one
I'll
there.
do this one. I got a big one, and I have a glove.
Try to stay, kind of go straight down, I think. That's my opinion.
Do you want that Yeah, that's a little, as you're burning it a little bit too much. Come up a little bit, yeah. So there's a bubble by the centerpiece. I don't know if you want to work on that.
It's it's the one that you most want to try to go for the
Yeah,
one
pick
that's
the
the
bubble
most
that bothers
annoying.
you the
Probably
most.
get the one on the center.
But that one's definitely going to come up
Yeah.
as well. We could employ another torch if we
We
had
can
to.
actually make this a little bigger flame too. But so if you're not, the ones you're getting, only work on the ones you're actually going to get,
Gotcha.
because then otherwise you'll just irritate the ones that you're not going to get,
Right, yeah.
and you'll bring them closer to the surface. You want a little bigger flame?
So it looks like it's kind of indenting the surface right there.
Yeah, you can later on. You'll be able to go back and smooth
Okay.
it out.
All right.
But you will. The center will be concave.
Okay.
We're going to come in with the heavy duty now.
So this is a huge bubble.
Hang on
right
a second.
Here. All right,
Back
step
away
back.
there, Corey, for a second.
I just turned it off. Do you want it back on?
No, it's all right.
We might take it back.
Yeah, you leave it on. Leave it. We're going to use it in a second.
Yeah, just turn it off for now, though,
Okay.
if you have a
You're
problem.
reducing a little bit. I can't really tell.
Would you want to go back to the other torch?
I don't know. This seems pretty good. I don't think we're getting that one. We're not getting
This
that
one's
one.
up.
Yeah. All right. You want to hang this up so.
Yeah.
The thing is, we're getting to the point where we're going to have to start torching. Now, the venting I'm not so worried about, but we're going to have to start torching the other parts of the surface a little bit. So what's good about this is that you're not, first of all, it's a good idea to wear protective eyewear when you do this, unlike your instructor. But you're trying to just nurse that bubble up. And you kind of can make, even though there may be a few bubbles that are formed in the surface from the gas, those tend to go out at the end.
Are you going to get that one or not?
You want to work on it for a while?
Corey, do you want to get that big one or not? I
Well, I
mean,
could try.
you got to kind of make a decision.
I mean, it doesn't. If you guys don't think that's manageable,
I
then
think you can get it eventually. I'm going to light up this one too.
If you could just kind of gently torch that, yeah. You just try to, I got it. You don't want to interfere. Here you go. More. A little more. A little less. There you go.
you know what?
You can keep going. Just stay right on that puppy, and then hopefully we'll get it out.
He might need a shield. I don't know.
I'm good. I'm good right now.
That one's coming up.
Yeah, I'll get this one up.
As long as it maybe separates from the
Right.
inclusion, that'd be fine with me.
Well, this one's gonna pop. I think Stephanie's getting a more specific flame with that. You want to get it
Yeah,
out?
I'll come over and do that one later. Just keep heating it up. I think that helps.
Once
mine releases.
Just get that one popped right away. Because if you just have one that's almost breaching, then that's worse.
Right.
Just get it done and then work on your other one.
Then there's a trick to it. Once it starts coming up, you come away. Because you want to let
Time
it
to
rise
dump
all the way to
this.
the surface. Otherwise, you pop it too fast, and it just sinks back, and you get another bubble.
Okay.
So you can see mine is like starting to come up.
Noise.
See it? So I'm going to go away. Watch, it's just going to like pop right up.
Yeah, we're getting kind of late in the game, unfortunately. But we got to pop that one for sure.
I'll just stay on this one. I got this one. Why don't we switch? You go on this one now.
Try to keep it straight down. Watch out for each other.
So you're just flattening. So you do a big circle
Yeah,
around it.
yeah, but don't go
Yeah,
into the
don't go in the
sand. Stay
sand.
away from the sand if you can. Even like a little bit farther out so some of that glass can come in there.
Okay.
Am I right over mine?
Just a little bit more that
All right.
way.
I can't really see. Am I right?
Well,
by
let me
the-
hold this. You come around
Yeah,
here,
I'll
Stephanie.
come around there. All right.
We're about a couple of minutes where we should really start to seriously think about putting it away.
All right. So you want me to give up this bubble?
Well, let's see what it looks like.
Take a look at it. While you're taking a look, I'm gonna.
It did separate a little bit, but
I
yeah,
don't think we're gonna get it all the way.
no.
That's fine.
It's a quasi-test, but you can definitely see that the sandblast scar does remain as a shadow in the
Okay.
piece.
In the end, you were right, and I was wrong.
About what?
The sandblast. I didn't think it would.
No.
I'm not happy. I'm happy. I know you're.
You're not happy that I'm
No,
right.
I'm happy to know. I just want to acknowledge.
That's good. So I got it. You want to start venting that with a knife?
Yeah, straight in. Kind of deep. As deep as your piece.
Whoa.
You all right?
Just had a big color spill here.
Yeah, it was falling over.
The bag.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a little. Good job. Well, it's a very neat, it's a nice symbol. You did a good job of centering it, and that's kind of tricky.
It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
And so all
So you
that,
can go ahead and take some of this and shovel. Yeah, you can use the knife as well.
all that torching really helped get the whole thing to set up a little bit more.
All right, no scar at all. Is any of this stuff on? Smell a little bit of gas. I guess we're okay.
Yeah, the torches are really nice. There's no scarring. You are going in on an angle now, so try to go straight.
Our shell's going to be solid, though. We're good. All right.
So the pizza paddle.
Always good to have. Using the paddle really, when you're taking the piece to the kiln, saves a lot of sand from falling on the floor. You end up with sand all over, and then you walk through it and track
Do
it
you
around.
know where
and-
you put it?
Yeah, our glass blower friends are
Pizza pan.
especially offended by that behavior. All right.
Yeah. Okay, all points bulletin for the big paddle.
Oh, right there. On the bench.
We should have brought some peels from our kitchen. Those are the best. All right, so if you want to put on a heavier duty glove than that, maybe, so you can push it on. Can you hold this for a second? Sorry about that. We have two face shields. We'll get one for you and one for me. We're on the exact opposite spectrum of hat size. All right.
On the spectrum.
Yeah, opposite. So the surface now is set up enough where even if sand falls on it, it's not going to be contaminated. So if you can just grab it and just lift it out carefully, I'll try to and then kind of just rest it there for a second. Yeah, just kind of slide it on there. That's good. Slide it across there gently. Just smooth it out. Perfect. You're good.
That's our homemade technique.
Yeah, patented, right? All right, so we'll bring it over there.
You don't have gloves on.
I'm just gonna, Corey's gonna push it in there for me. Looks great.
Awesome. You guys
We
are,
don't applaud until it's in the
everybody's chugging
kitchen.
along. This is good.
So we're gonna go way in the
Yeah,
back
this
on
is
this one.
great.
So we're gonna
This is
slide
great.
it
We are gonna
way
get it all
back.
done. It'll go a
Just
little
push
faster.
that in.
Can she pull this out now?
Watch
or should we
yourself.
wait till right
Oh wait.
Pull this back now,
wait
push it in
till
hard.
after the whole thing sets up.
Oh,
That's good. That's fine. And then just shove it back a little bit with that.
before.
I'll do more later. That's good. Fine.
Oh,
I'll brush off the
okay.
surface. It
It's
got a little
metal?
sand from the
I
above.
thought it was graphite.
Nice.
All
All right.
Let's see what he says. 'Cause
Nice work.
Taking a second.
I mean, it'd be nice
our
just to
first
leave it in
victim.
there.